everybody, this is Tracy, and we are here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. And today we are going to recap Iyanla Fix My Life. Not sure what season this is because it seems to fluctuate around. I don't know how long Iyanla's been on, but the internet is saying that it is season 6, but for some reason I'm thinking it's season 8. But we're going to go with the internet. So it's season 6, episode 1, which was titled Kidnapped at Birth. So this episode, Iyanla was trying to help a young lady by the name of Kamiyah Mobley. And you may have read Kamiyah's story in the newspaper. She's an African-American girl who was kidnapped when she was 8 hours old, I believe it is. And her mom was a teenager, and this lady kidnapped her and raised Kamiyah as her own daughter. And Kamiyah is 19 years old, and I think the whole story unraveled like a year ago. So she was 18 years old when the mother was arrested, and the mother's name is Gloria Williams, and she's now incarcerated for this kidnapping. So the whole issue with Kamiyah is she was raised as Alexis Williams. Now she's Kamiyah Mobley, and of course she's lost, she's confused. And from what we could see in the beginning of the show, Miss Gloria provided Kamiyah with a wonderful life. She did good in school. She graduated from high school. I think she was getting ready to go to college. They seem to have a really strong mother-daughter bond, and just provided a very nice lifestyle. Didn't seem to want for anything. They didn't appear to be poor or anything. And so what happened is that Kamiyah turned 16 and she interviewed for a job. She was hired for the job. But of course, when you get a job in America, you need to provide your social security card and a form of legal identification, usually in the form of a birth certificate or a driver's license. So she goes to her mom, to Gloria, and tell her she needs these things. And so Gloria can't provide it to her. So she decides, I've held on this secret for so long. Now I'm going to just tell her the truth. And so she tells Kamiyah, or Alexis. Let's call her Alexis at this point. So she tells Alexis, I can't provide those documents to you because I'm not your mother. So then Alexis immediately thinks, oh, I was adopted. And then she says, no, you weren't adopted. I actually kidnapped you when you were a baby. So I'm sure Alexis probably at first thought her mom was lying or whatever, but she was so, confused by the news that she went and she shared the information with a friend. And so I'm assuming that the friend told her mom or told somebody, and that's how the whole thing unraveled. So Alexis was returned to her birth parents, which is, the mother's name was Shanara, and she's in a relationship. Her dad, Craig, who for the longest I thought was DMX. I was like, DMX done found another child? But it wasn't DMX, but it could have been DMX's brother. But his name was Craig. And when they had Alexis, Shanara was 16 and Craig was 18. So now that she's back with them and Gloria is in prison, they want her to be Kamiyah. But she's grown up her whole life being Alexis, which, adds another layer to the situation. And, she says that she loves Gloria. Gloria is the only mother she's ever known. That was her security. and she's not going to hate her because she provided her with a great life. She had everything that she ever wanted in life, and she's just not going to turn her back on the Gloria woman, and that when Gloria gets out of jail, she wants to continue to have a relationship with her. And so the birth parents don't like this. They're upset about it. So Kamiyah, she's Kamiyah now, decides to come on to Iyanla's show, and both parents were supposed to be there. Craig is married, his wife, Shannara, her boyfriend. But then on the day that they start filming, Shannara refuses to come on the show. And she refuses to come on the show because she's like, I have suffered and mourned the loss of my child for all these years, and then to have her come back into my life, but she still has an allegiance to the person that ripped her, like literally ripped her out of my arms. I just can't do it. So Shannara didn't want to be a part of the show. And when by the time we got to the end of the show, we know why Shannara didn't want to be a part of the show, because Kamiyah is crazy. Only way I can put it. So the show starts off with just Iyanla and Kamara, and she comes in and they're talking, and Iyanla asks her, what's your name? And she says Alexis, and then she changed it to Kamiyah, and then Iyanla was like, well, that's a problem because you don't know who you are. What do you prefer to go by? And she said, well, you can call me Alexis or you can call me Kamiyah. And I keep feeling like I keep saying Kamara. So if I say Kamara, I apologize. It's Kamiyah. So Iyanla tells her, no, you have to tell me, who are you? What's your name? And so she says, well, you can call me Kamiyah. So the two of them get to talking, and she's, telling Iyanla the whole story, and just basically what I've just shared, that she don't plan on giving up Gloria because that was her security. Then Iyanla takes her up to this bedroom, and in the bedroom, I guess it was supposed to be like a womb or something, but there's like this pink cut out figure that to me it looked like a man, but it was in the fetal position, and then everything in the room was white. It had this fluffy, feathery looking comforter on the bed. And so Iyanla's kind of like babying the girl, and she's talking with this little soft whispery voice. And I find that anytime you have adults that talk in that little soft whispery voice, that you're dealing with somebody with some deep psychological issues. And so she's saying, you're just acting like a baby, like well, she is the victim, but at this point she's playing the victim. And we already know from Jump Street that this probably ain't gonna go the way Iyanla wants it to go, and that there probably will be no resolution in this situation, because what the girl needs to just come out and say and put her foot down to say is, yes, I'm hurt that I was kidnapped, but this is the only mother that I know, and I don't mean to hurt you, birth mother, but I just can't turn off 19 years and just say that this person is dead to me and this person no longer exists, and to abandon her and leave her when she was everything that I had growing up. And I think if she was able to just say that and be okay with what happened as a result of her saying that, but instead she's like in a tug of war between wanting to hold on to the old mother, the one that raised her, and not wanting to further hurt the birth mother who has had to live all these years without her and who never really recovered from losing her. So Iyanla was going to have her spend the night, but before she did, they were talking, and she was explaining what this big pink cutout was on the wall, and she was like, had the little girl, well, not the little girl, had the 19-year-old Kamiyah wrapped up in this blanket, like she was a baby. And I was just like, Iyanla, where you going with this? Because now you tried that with Keisha Cole's brother-in-law, I can't remember his name, when she had him all balled up in the fetal position and rubbing his back and everything. Like, you just can't rebirth people. We done found out that strategy doesn't work. So Iyanla leaves the girl up there in the bedroom and tells her to start journaling and writing out her feelings and everything. So she goes down, and then we get to meet the dad, the wife. No, actually, I think Iyanla was talking to the dad at first. And so she had given him these heart-shaped Post-it notes and told him to write down everything that he knows about Kamiyah, what he thinks about her. And so after he did that, and they talked and everything, and Iyanla told him, what she was thinking about doing. She went back upstairs, and so she's reading off these sticky notes that the dad had written. And so he said that he thinks that Kamiyah is outspoken, wants to be loved for who she is, that she's beautiful, she's respectful. Sometimes you can tell she's a little confused. And it went on and on. And, she was slapping them hearts up there on that board. So I was like, he must have wrote on every sticky that it was. And so then Iyanla was like, who is Kamiyah? Asking the girl. And she was like, do you agree with these descriptions that he's given me? And so then the girl said, yeah, I do agree with them. And then Iyanla said, well, this is what I see when I'm talking to you. So then she starts writing on her own heart-shaped little post-it notes in a different color. And she says, I see somebody who's lost. I see somebody who's confused, who's scared, alone, who's dead from the neck down, who's numb from the neck up, who's just closed off, who's angry. And she was just slapping them hearts. So before too long, the whole fetal man was covered in sticky notes. And when I tell y'all that this fetal cutout was the size and the height of the wall, so it was a pretty big cutout, and she had covered it with all these descriptions of what the girl is. So she was talking to the girl, and then she goes back down to talk to the dad, and this is where the stepmom and the mother's boyfriend was there. And so she's talking to them and saying that, I'm going to have to take drastic measures because she's really closed off, and she ain't opening up the way I want her to. So Iyanla said that what she was going to do, she was like, I'm either going to have to trigger her and make her mad, or I'm going to trigger her and she's just going to, open up and say what she's feeling and what's going on. And she's saying, what I need for you to do to help with her recovery is that when she calls you to say, come pick me up, don't answer the phone. Dad, don't answer the phone. Stepmom, don't answer the phones. Mama boyfriend, don't answer the phone. Nobody be a lifeline to her. So they all agreed that that's what they were going to do. But at first the dad was like, well, I don't like that idea because I don't want you, she's suffered enough and she's in enough pain, and I don't want you to do anything that's going to hurt her. And so Iyanla says she's already hurting, and if she doesn't release all of this, she's going to implode, and it's not going to be in a good way, and she may harm herself, she may harm somebody else. So we got to deal with this right now. We can't continue to let this linger on. So then finally the dad agrees and says, okay, I won't answer the phone if she calls. Now, granted, they all in the same house together. So Iyanla goes back upstairs and tells the girl, you have the option to stay or you can leave. It's up to you. And so then the girl said, okay, well, I'm going to leave. And then Iyanla said, okay. So then Iyanla got up and walked out the room. And then she came back and stuck her head in, and she said, oh, and by the way, I instructed your father that if you called for him to come pick you up, not to answer the phone. When I tell y'all that girl went from 0 to 100 in 1.5 seconds, she went ballistic, like total crazy. And y'all know I don't like to cuss, but I'm about to tell y'all what that girl said to Iyanla. She lost her mind. This girl was like, bitch, I'll stab you. I done stabbed bitches bigger than you. She called Iyanla every kind of bitch known to man, woman, and child. She called her whore. She called her motherfuckers. She was like, you bum ass bitch. I'll stump your ass. I'll stab your ass. She was going off on Iyanla. And so then the crew was coming in and they was trying to like, hold up, little girl. And Iyanla was like, the names don't hurt me. The names don't hurt me. Get it out. Get it out. And so the girl was on the phone, and I'm thinking she must be had called the mom. And so she's going off on the mom and telling the mom, I don't know who this hoe thinks she is, who this bitch thinks she is. She was just like, her head was spinning like the Exorcist. And she was like threatening to stab Iyanla. She was going to slap Iyanla. She was going to knock Iyanla out. And she was just acting crazy. And Iyanla was like, what I said to you was you could leave. Nobody's stopping you from leaving. Like, why are you yelling and screaming and carrying on when nobody said you couldn't leave? What I said to you was that they are not going to come get you. They're not going to answer the phone when you call. And she was like, but you don't have a right. They do what I say do. You don't tell them what they can do for me. And I mean, she was just, let me tell you something. And my children can attest to this. You get the yap in your mouth at me, one or two things gonna happen. One, you gonna get chopped in the throat, or the other is you gonna get slammed in your back. Either way, your breath is gonna be cut short, and you ain't gonna have no option but to shut up. And that was what this little girl needed. So Iyanla goes inside, and so now remember the people who she trying to call, they in the house, but she is so enraged that common sense wasn't common anymore. Like, she was so angry that she never thought, they're downstairs. I can just go downstairs and tell them, let's roll up out of here. So Iyanla goes inside, and you can just hear her screaming and carrying on. And Iyanla tells them, what's going on, that she's out of control, she's losing her mind, but it's going to be okay. So then she tells Daddy, come on, I need you to go with me. So Dad goes out there, and instead of him drop kicking her little ass, he goes, it's okay, baby. It's okay. Come on, everything's all right. You don't have to stay. Come on, let's go. So then here come the stepmama. Here come the mama's boyfriend. And then they cuddling her and bathing her and telling her she don't have to stay. And so they end up leaving. And I'm just like, this just ain't gonna work. So we go to commercial break. Come back, and Iyanla was like, she's okay. She did. Sometimes she just can't help people. That people, they hurt themselves because they're not open to being helped. And she said that if the girl had stayed and been willing to work through the process, she had brought in this chick named Karina or Carlina. And I think I remember seeing the Carlina girl's story. I think it was a Lifetime movie, but she was another black girl who had been kidnapped at birth, and she didn't learn until she was like 23 years old that, her whole story, that the people that raised her weren't, her biological parents. And she's 30 years old right now. Oh, and then that was another thing, let me backtrack. Iyanla told the Kamiyah girl that she could relate to what she was going through because she grew up believing that the person who raised her was her mother, but she was 30 years old when she learned the truth that this lady was not her mother, and that her actual birth mother had died when Iyanla was only 2 years old. She said, so I know the betrayal and the disappointment and the hurt that you're feeling. So I'm thinking, okay, that's a good start. Y'all can relate to one another, share some stories and everything. But the thing that she missed the opportunity to meet the Carlina girl, I think, was the hardest part. And so the Carlina, she talked and was saying basically, what Kamiyah is going to have to learn in order to do better and to get over from the situation. So the show goes on. And when I tell y'all I was pissed, I mean, it takes a lot. I know I watch This Is Us and I get all emotional and be crying and everything, but this show had me hot. I was like, whoo, if I came across Miss Kamiyah, I'd probably just hit her on GP, because I'm just thinking this girl, if she don't get herself together and don't get some help, she gonna end up in a situation she ain't gonna be able to get out of, and somebody's really going to hurt her feelings. So when I was getting ready to do this video, I was actually going to do it yesterday. I came across a after show video that Iyanla did where she brought in her team, to make sure that her team was okay and to talk to them and, get their opinions on what they thought was going on. And so it was one, two, three, four. So it was either 4 or 5 members of the team that were there during the filming. So there was this white guy who kept coming in between Kamiyah and Iyanla on the show, where it turns out that when he was trying to restrain her, that she broke his foot. So he there with his leg all wrapped up in the boot, walking on crutches. And I'm just like, oh my God. So he was a white guy. Then the other people, they were black. And it was like I said, it was either 4 or 5, and so I'm gonna say it was 5. So it was the white guy, and then it was 3 black guys and a black girl and maybe that's why I'm confused on the number, because for the longest I thought the girl was actually a guy, but she turned out to be a girl. But anyway, they were all black, so I was like, kudos to Iyanla, for employing black people. But they were just basically saying that they were concerned about Iyanla's safety, that they had never seen nothing like that before. They didn't know what was wrong with this girl. Was she on drugs or what was going on? So then one of the guys pointed out that the way that Kamiyah flipped the switch, like she went from this little sweet, docile person to this enraged, cussing and carrying on raging bull, was symbolic of the reality TV shows, the Love and Hip Hops and the Housewives series, is that kids are being so programmed to watching this and thinking that it's normal and it's okay to be talking to people any kind of way, to be disrespecting your elders, to fight and carry on like that. So basically, Kamiyah couldn't separate the difference between this is a show that's trying to help me and do something to better my life, and this is a reality TV show. So she was acting out the way she had seen so many people on reality TV act out, and that she was just basically performing for the cameras, not realizing that they were really there to help her. And so then the girl said that she kind of took offense to that because she had worked on reality TV before, those type of reality TV shows that promote violence and disrespect and women cursing each other out and everything. And so the reason she left that type of reality TV show and was so proud to come over to Iyanla's show was because she wanted to make a difference. She wanted to be a positive influence and just see, somebody counteract that type of negativity. And so to think that people are just so got that in their head that that's how they're supposed to act, she said that it really hurt her because she felt like they failed Kamiyah because they weren't able to reach her. They weren't able to help her. So, in her mind, evil wins. The bad behavior wins because they couldn't impact Kamiyah's life. So Iyanla closed it out by, telling her team, like, I don't want you guys to be sad, hurt, upset, feeling like we failed her. She said because her job is to bring awareness to Kamiyah's pain and the depth of her potential. And then once you become aware of this is the issue and this is what life will be like once you deal with the issue, then it becomes that person's responsibility to take it from there. And so she felt like she had done her part. And I think one of the guys had actually said that he was just concerned that Kamiyah was going to go out into public and exhibit the behavior that she exhibited on that set, and it wasn't going to turn out the same way. And Iyanla said, but that's not her call, because she needed the parents to stand in and to be the front and to be the wall that she needed, to support her and hold her up so that they could get the breakthrough. But they became enablers because they want to make up for the last 18, 19 years, but there's really nothing to make up for because the girl had a good life. She had a good life during those years, so there's nothing to make up for. So they just need to start from today to build a relationship with her today as an adult woman and be a support system to her. And so I don't know, maybe Iyanla needed to work with the family first to get them on board and help them understand what was about to take place before she talked to the girl. So she may have went about the whole thing the wrong way, but that was an explosive episode. And just to see a young person talk to a grown person with such venom and such hatred and such ignorance as that girl was talking to Iyanla, I just pray that she wake up one day and realize what an asshole she was, and that she calls Iyanla or writes Iyanla and apologize for her behavior, because I'm telling you, if she doesn't, ain't nothing good gonna happen in her life. I just don't think that you can act that way, exude that kind of energy, and reap a good harvest. So, little girl, I hope somebody talked to you and let you know you was dead wrong and you owe Miss Iyanla an apology and that ain't nothing good gonna happen to you until you do right by Miss Iyanla. So, guys, that's it for me. If you saw the episode, let me know what you thought. If you're familiar with the story, leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You can do all of that below. And until the next time, I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.